Manchester United are terrible. 6 home league losses this season. It's the most through 12 home league games since 1893.
Oh, goodness me.
Wow. 22 points and 10 losses this Premier League season. Both is the worst through 22 games in the Premier League era. 0 open play, shots on goal in a home Premier League game for the first time since January 2016. That was against Southampton. Amorim very honest afterwards, saying we're getting a new coach who is losing more than the last coach. We are the worst team, maybe the history of Manchester United. Mario and Nedum still with us. Craig, obviously you were off yesterday, but I imagine...
Well, listen, I don't know historically if it's the worst. Results are extremely poor. But I would imagine statistically he can't be far off pro rata one of the worst managers thus far.
Got to be the worst manager, surely.
He's up there. And he has some responsibility. Well, he has a lot of responsibility, but the squad is not his doing, clearly. But he has a responsibility now to train this squad, work this squad, pick this team, pick the tactics, and set the pattern of play. He's doing none of that. None of it. Now, the rot had set in a long time ago at United, right? Well, we've been over this ground many, many times. But what they did in the summer has resulted in these problems. Ineos coming in, all ballsy, going to do this, going to do that, clueless. Thus far, clueless. Hire Dan Ashford, sack him. Give Ten Hag the vote of confidence, new contract in the summer, spend 200 million. Why? Why? This is the result of all that poor decision making. But he has to take some responsibility here, the manager. When you go to a club, it's about changing the mentality. It's about changing the tactics, it's about changing the results. What are we seeing from Ruben Amorim that is different, apart from we know he plays a 3, a 4, 2 narrow, and 1 striker? That's all we know. We haven't seen anything else. So I understand the problems that he has, but he has to do more. They have better players than Southampton. They were played off the park by Southampton. Mm-hmm. They have better players than a lot of teams that they've played, but they've been played off the park. So he has to take some responsibility because he's now the man at the helm. Mm-hmm. And he has to make this team better. That's what coaching is. So I don't know what the strategy is with the press conferences and what he's saying. I don't know. Right, and we know there's some rotten apples at Man United. We know all that. But to have 1 shot on target in 90 minutes at Old Trafford?
That's your penalty.
I think as a new manager coming into this situation, right, and most managers coming in, it's because there's a problem and you have to fix it. I guess you can have one of 2 approaches. First, shore up the issues, deal with where things are going wrong, and over time and with transfer windows, you build this team into one that you're used to working with. Or you just come in and say, we're playing my style, regardless of personnel, and I'll take the bad that comes with that, and until we can properly address those issues. Quite clearly, Amorim, as we've had a similar discussion around Postecoglou, have gone for the latter. This is how I play, this is how you're going to play. I'm not really bothered whether those players can do it or not. And we're going to take those blows on the chin. Now, while you're doing that, you're writing records, the wrong kind of records, for a club like Manchester United. While you're doing that, you're falling further and further behind everybody else in the league. So for Amorim, I don't understand it, because I still feel, and to Craig's point, this is a better team than, 14th or 15th, wherever Manchester United are right now. They're a better team than Southampton, that's for sure. Yet still, we are now kind of just having these discussions as to exactly how bad they are.
Right.
And he's leading those conversations, which is doubly bemusing.
Yeah, Nedum, if you're in that locker room and you're hearing your manager say this is the worst team in the history of the club, does it mean anything to you?
I think, to be honest, if he's saying it to the players as well, I think he's trying to get a message across. But in terms of what they say to the media, I've never really personally cared how much sort of speak to media from that standpoint, because sometimes the messaging is different. They're trying to, speak to the fans, speak to certain individuals, but the way they speak to the team, for me, I think matters more. And I think for those players themselves, they're having this sort of like roller coaster of emotions. They get credit for the game against Liverpool. They get credit for the game against Arsenal. But in reality, if we really delve into the analysis of those games, they were pretty good defensively and they played as an underdog. But lo and behold, we're facing the same problems now. When we see them become the team that's supposed to be in the ascendancy, the team that's supposed to be on the front foot, they seem to be failing from that standpoint. So when the manager talks about it, yes, they are, especially in the Premier League era, because for Craig, for Shaka, for anyone that's watched the Premier League in those early years, United were the dominant force, and there were no questions about it. We're back. We always hear that, we're back. United are back. This was a great result. The Derby game, as I said, the Liverpool game, the Arsenal game, we're back. And then there's a dud against Southampton, basically. Yes, they won, but it's a dud. And there's a dud here against Brighton. And did anyone think this was going to happen? I think for most people that see the way they fluctuate, probably yes. And I think that's one of the biggest problems they have right now.
Mario, your boy Ten Hag must have sat back in Holland going,
he is watching it and he's just being quiet. I'm sure he's checking, he's thinking, what's happening there? But I'm sure he was familiar with it. So now Amorim is there. He came out. Clearly, the questions that you ask, if your manager talks like that, what kind of confidence does that give to the team? And how he values his players, you understand? I don't think that, of course, it will need not all the players he doesn't like, but there must be some players that he does like. And the way tactically when he plays, the big games that he played and the ones that he performed it, he played 5-4-1. Those are the ones that he won, or that he played well. Against the City one, and Liverpool he played well. But away from that, against this kind of teams, you cannot perform like this. When you're at home and when you perform, they come there, and I can guarantee you that Brighton came and they had the feeling they can win. They could win. And that should never be there. Like, you turn up like that, normally it should have been a stadium when you come in and you look around and you see all those things. Sometimes, I remember going there, people were saying, like, don't get impressed by the stadium because you forget to play the game. And I think when Brighton came, they were not impressed by the stadium, but they clearly knew they could win there. And that is what's happening. And I think some of the players that are playing for that team, it might be a lot what they're asking them now. To perform that well, I think some of them might be under pressure.
Why would Ten Hag be sitting in Holland laughing?
Because everyone had a go at him, saying that he was an awful coach, and this coach come in and has done worse.
Well, let me tell you something.
He's done worse with the same. He's done worse with the same players.
Who brought in most of these players?
And that wasn't just Ten Hag, was it? That wasn't just Ten Hag.
They came in under his watch.
But then
who signed that? Who pushed for Anthony? Who pushed for Anthony?
But I think to say that Ten Hag's reputation is not damaged by what has happened is a fine statement to make.
What do you mean?
I think that he left going, oh no. When you look what Amorim's done with the same players, I don't think you can point fingers at Ten Hag as hard as we did.
Wayne, don't talk nonsense.
What do you mean?
He brought in most of their squad over a period, and he was part of wasting money on these players. So he
won 2 trophies, Craig Burley, with these players. How dare you doubt him?
I'm sure he's not sitting. I'm sure he's not sitting back laughing in Holland. But listen, apart from the money that Amorim's been paid, I bet he wishes he hadn't taken this job. Yeah. He's got in there and he's thought.
He wanted to take it in the summer, Craig. Remember, he wanted to take it in the summer. He wanted to take it in the summer, and they said no. They said no to him.
They said no. So we're sticking with Ten Hag.
Amorim has got it.
Again, that goes back to the decision-making from clueless executives and hangers-on that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has. Sir Dave Brailsford, he's just one of them. Cycling coach. What the hell does that know about a cycling coach know about a football club the size of Man United, one of the biggest clubs in the world? This is all this nonsense that people get sucked in and believe. All these sort of hangers-on. What happens is you get them all, and they've all got different opinions, and so they can't get to a very good decision. It's just not. But all that being said, he needs Ruben Amorim, whether they're his players or not. They're not his players. He needs to get more from this group, and if it means changing his shape, which he said he's absolutely not going to do. But how bad will it get before he has to change something? Because he can't. Because these guys can't play in the back three. Because these guys are not very good at wing back. They're better at full backs. Because the midfield shape is wrong. Whatever it is. At what point does he have to secede to some common sense? Or is he just going to stick his head in the mud and go, it's a back three, that's what it is, and we'll carry on?
Can I ask you about Onana, Shaq?
Another one of Ten Hag signings.
Depends on what you're going to ask me. I think he's been markedly better this term, that mistake aside, than he was last. The sad thing is, unfortunate thing is, you replace David De Gea, who, albeit was making some errors back end of his own Manchester United career, but will forever be remembered as one of United's certainly better shot stoppers. And then all of a sudden, Onana's come in and just not been able to settle in the manner that Manchester United need him to. You can't be making those kinds of errors on the back of what was a disappointing season last year.
He's not quite Massimo Taibbi.
Wow.
No.
Goodness me, Wikipedia.
No, he's not.
Italian goalkeeper. Was it Italian?
Yeah, Italian.
Who came in and he was a disaster. He's not been that bad, but has he really been an upgrade on the number 2 that was going to step up? Dean Henderson, who'd been there for a while, was waiting his chance. Clearly they didn't fancy him as the number 1, but, has Onana been any better than, say, what Dean Henderson would have been? Not sure. So I think there's another player that you might have to move on. Worryingly, in terms of moving players on, as many mistakes as he makes, he's not a priority.
No, exactly. That's
that kind of tells you where they are.
Yeah.
What's the biggest priority out of all these bad players?
Yeah. Onana's not there, is he? Anthony obviously looks like he's on his way to La Liga as they're looking to change things up. And obviously when Onana makes a mistake, there's a few more million views to a certain clip of Shaka Hislop, which again went viral yesterday. We should get money, Jack. Every time.
Absolutely, we should.
Someone looks
Absolutely, we should.
This was doing the right. Thanks to everyone who brought that to my attention
Can I ask a
yesterday.
question?
Yeah.
Why was it doing the rounds yesterday?
Because someone, like a well-followed account, just put Onana at the top
and then showed that clip.
and then showed the clip.
See,
And it happens.
so many smart people online.
I wish they give you some money.